So, good morning everyone, and we are from Team Azure's, and we are here to present our project on Track-A-Thon 1.0. So, what basically is Track-A-Thon 1.0? We actually chose the problem of field sales tracking. So, what is field sales tracking then? Field sales tracking actually stands for recording or tracking the employee who is actually in the field. So employees are asked to engage in door-to-door sales in the field, and they have to report from work, right? So they have to report the work they did to the manager. So this work can be automated by our Trackathon 1.2. The report of the employees must be obtained, and tracking of all that is happening in the field must be done. So our problem statement given was that we should actually build a field sales tracker, which means, as I said, we have to track the particular employee and then get the geo coordinates of the device of the employee. And then a route map should be plotted along with the distance traveled at each places, and then the time spent over there, and again the distance traveled. So this is how our problem statement was given. And in our project, each and every single point was actually satisfied. Let's see how. So our goals while we started the project was to build a position tracker to track the employee progress regularly, and then to calculate the distance. So the employee might be going to different places at a single day. So for example, if we take the employee has traveled for 5 places in a single day, so there might be different kilometers that he has traveled in the single day. So that distance must be calculated, and then the time spent at each places with the customer, that is also important, and then along with the route map. So our approach strategy was that we are using the IP address of the user, which is the internet protocol. From the internet protocol, it's actually very easy to obtain the details of the user, which contains many details. For example, the host name, the country, the region, even the state or the city, and along with the latitude and longitude of the user. So this is mainly the part we used for our program. So we actually collected the latitude and longitude by calling an API to get the IP address of the user. So basically, this is the file where our API is called. And what we did is we actually automated the API. And once if the user calls it one time, it will automatically get scheduled for the whole day, and it will keep running at regular intervals of time, so that whenever the IP changes, it gets actually saved into a JSON file. So let me show you. So I have run the file over here, and you can see my IP address is stored here. So you can see the time, it's 10:27 now. So my IP address along with the position and my country is stored. So this would be running for like a couple of times when the scheduler is installed in the particular user's computer. So crontab is actually a very easy tool for scheduling Python programs. So you can use crontab for this, and it's basically a single line code that we can use to schedule this, so that once it is employed, the employee can just put his attendance, like in the morning, he can just run this code and that's it. Automatically the JSON file would be generated. This JSON file, what would it do is it would be sent to the manager. So how that would work, we'll see. So first of all, this is the tech stack that we used. So the front end was built using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. And the backend was built using Python and JSON files. And then the server which connects between the front and the backend is the Flask and the Docker. So, and then the result would be obtained by the user. So this is how we basically the tech stack that we used. And here are the libraries that we used. So there are also several other libraries that we use. I'll let you know now. So first of all, we use the URL lib library for calling the API. And then there's the Havesign library. This library was actually unique, and I was so surprised to learn this, because it is really easy to find the distance between two places using just the latitude and longitude by a single command using this particular library. I was so surprised to find this library. Python has made it all easy. And then there is JSON. And then we used Google Maps for particularly plotting the map. And then there was API scheduler or crontab. You can use either one of these. For us, we tried both, and crontab is particularly working right now. And then there is the datetime library. We used it for calculating the current time of the user. And then we used Flask for actually combining the backend and the front end. And then there is the pillow library, which is PIL library for the image recognition. And then there's image and image draw, which we imported from the PIL library. So the workflow of Track-A-Thon is that the employee calls the API gets scheduled and automatically called, and the IP address of the employees would be obtained, and then a JSON file would be created using all the details of the user obtained only from the IP address. And then what we are doing is we are calculating the distance between the latitude and longitude using the IP address, and then the time spent is calculated, and then the route map is drawn. So this is how the basic workflow of Track-A-Thon is. So what are the other features that we provide? So there's route map with markers, there is a daily goal tracker, and then there are time spent at each place and coordinates and areas. So these are the basic features that we were asked to do. So what are the extra features that we have done? I'll show you now. So basically, this is the login page of the website. This can be obtained by just running the single command. By running this single command, we can actually access this login page, and then after opening this, so this is the login page. The particular CEO or manager or whoever it is can just log in here. They can just give the employee details that they need, and then when they log in, they'll get the particular name of the employee. So whatever name they have given, that employee's name, or I mean the employee's dashboard would be opening. So here, for example, we have taken an example of Mr. Ranjit. So Mr. Ranjit is an employee. So he has covered. So this dashboard will be containing the details of the user that he has done for one single day. So the one single day he has covered 65 kilometers, and we can also see that the report when generated here. So the distance covered is calculated and the time worked for that particular date. So this is the total number of hours that he worked, and then the total distance that he traveled in that particular single day. So here is a report generated from the past 2 days and today. So we are giving a comparative analysis of the past 3 days so that we can see how the efficiency of the worker has increased or not. So in this way, what we can do is we can actually predict how many kilometers he might travel the next day. This can be done by ML automation. So machine learning would be really easy. Really effective tool when it comes to prediction. So here we can actually predict how many number of hours the particular employee would be working the next day. Or we can also actually predict, compare between 2 or 3 employees and produce the reports like this too. So we can see which employee has worked more hours and we can give them bonus, or we can even encourage them and give them best employee of the month or something like that. So we can generate a report with a comparative analysis of how he has worked for the past 3 days. And then there is the area coverage report for today. You can see he has covered the region Vilivakam, then Velachery, then Punamalli, and then Palikarnai, and then Sholingalu. So this is the distance traveled between each of the the cities, and then the time he was there. So at 7 o'clock he started from the office, and then from there he has left at 9:30, and then from 9:30 to 11:30 he spent it at Velachery, something like that. And then the time spent at each places would be here. And then we can see how the different distance covered is seen in this particular graph, and then we can see the time spent here. So we can also say, like, for example, a company might have allotted this many amount of time for a particular customer, for example, minimum 2 hours for a customer. So you can see this is the allotted time. The blue color is the allotted time, so minimum of 2 hours. But sometimes it would have been 2.5 hours or 3 hours, something like that. So when it comes like that, we can see how the employee has uh, actually exceeded his limits and worked hard for us. So this is also can be seen. And then there is a detailed report of the recent activity of the user. So we can see where he went and what time he went, where he spent the maximum hours, and then what he did. So everything will be produced here. And then we come to the map. So here's the detailed map of where he went and what he did. So as we can see, he went to these places. So we have marked it in the map. and we can see how he has actually traveled from one place to another for a particular user. So this is actually unique for you for a particular user. So we can actually do it for many number of users. We can automate this, and this is very easy and a simple solution instead of going for a bigger AWS services and something like that, which would be costly. So this is actually pretty easy and it's time effective too. And one of the other features we offer is that we actually produce the report to the email automatically. So the employee can actually get the reports to the email generally. So I access the website over here, and you can see at this time I accessed it at 10:30, right? So at 10:30 I received a report. So here is the daily report of him. So we can see uh, here's your employee report, and then you can just download it as PDF and keep it for future uses too. So this is also a feature that we access. So we can easily give it as a PDF and then like report it and file it. So we cannot always rely on computers. So if you need it as an offline copy, you can also print it and just keep it. So it's really simple, and we have automated this too. And this was also a new stuff that we learned this time. So as we did this using SMTP. So SNTP is a library for automatic email producing, generating thing. So it was really new to us, and we were really happy to learn this too. And then why did we choose the IP address approach? Why not the GPS tracking, you may ask? So IP address gives accurate results. It's time efficient and it's cost efficient too. As I said, you don't have to actually need a bigger cloud services or something. And the report generation is faster, and there are many libraries used in Python, so it's really fast. And then it's user friendly too. Both the manager and the employee can use it at the same time. So the employee can just give it as an attendance. You can just run a single Python app, and then the employee would be getting the whole report of his work. That's all simple, right? And then what are the future aspects? So as a future aspect go, we can actually update the details of the user in the cloud. We can save it using MySQL, and then in a DB, and then save the details. And then for a particular month, we can actually calculate the overall percentage and the average time spent and all of that. And then the performance analysis between staff. So each staff might have a different performance for a particular day. So we can actually see the performance analysis between staffs, and then we can also automate this using ML. As I said, we can actually predict stuff. And then live chatting with the employee. The employee can actually assign stuff, and he can also talk with the a particular staff using the website itself. And then there is better employee management. Here, the employee is able to see what the particular staff is doing. So here there is transparency in the work, which is really important, because we know who is cheating and who's not, who is working hard and who's really not. So it is really very helpful. And also, one more thing is that IP address, taking IP address of an user is actually legal, and it's really simple too. So this is why we chose this. And thank you for having us at VIT. We really enjoyed a lot and we really learned a lot. And it is deployed using Docker and Docker Compose. So it can be run using the single command too. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you, judges.